Happy Devil's Wednesday. This is State of the Fan Address, episode 243. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with pucksandpitchforks.com editor-in-chief Nick Villano. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on Let's Go Devils Network. Big game going on at the Rock right now. Lots of stuff to go over. Goalies, Seamus Casey, all sorts of things as we're all experiencing the Christmas hangover. Nick, how was your Christmas?
It was good. First Christmas with the baby, so that was fun. He got too many presents. I need to figure out where to put everything. I'm having a good time, though, because my West Virginia Mountaineers up 30-10 on North Carolina. So, hey, at least I root for one good team, right?
Yeah. They're not a bad college football team. Respectable.
You're just saying that because you beat us this year. All right, I know you. I know you and your.
I'm trying to be diplomatic.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, we don't get many bowl wins in West Virginia, but the ones we do, they're usually pretty impressive. You know, we beat Clemson in the Orange Bowl, beat Georgia that one year, so there's been some fun ones. But anyway, this is not a West Virginia podcast. This is a Devils podcast, and the Devils suck. So, rebuttal, Sam.
Why do you say they suck?
Because they do. I don't know. Do you need the scientific reason?
Scientific? Are you watching the game at the same time and something happened, or are you just saying in general?
Oh, it usually does not lead to a better podcast when I keep the game on. I've learned, so I just turned it off. But I mean, like this game, they're playing Columbus, another terrible team, and they're losing to another terrible team. The Devils have a terrible record against terrible teams. How is that? Like, how do you expect to make the playoffs in this division when you can't beat the Blue Jackets or the Ducks or the Coyotes, or, you know, I could go on and on and on. These terrible teams that they keep losing to. The Sharks. When you can't beat these teams, you should beat these teams handsomely. You can't beat them at all. And they're down again. They are not shooting the puck. They for the past month, they stopped shooting the puck. They go for the perfect opportunity, but they're alone. How much more perfect can you get? You're alone with the goalie. Shoot the puck. If you think that if this team thinks it's as good as it says it is, shoot the puck. And they're not shooting the puck. And I know I sound like all those like terrible Twitter accounts that like just say the same cockamamie stuff, but like it's kind of getting to be true. They don't defend. They don't shoot the puck at opportune situations. They don't draw penalties anymore. They're not even that good on the power play anymore. They lost first place. They're on third last time I checked. They've lost 10% on their power play percentage, which, I mean, when you're up that high, I guess that happens. But still, you're now down to, I think they're under 30%. This team just, I don't know how to explain it. Besides that, the offense stinks out of nowhere. Can't score. Can't finish. They cannot finish because they get into a high danger area and don't shoot. They pass. And then the pass gets broken up, and then they get no opportunity at all. And the defense, that's very well documented how bad it's been. It's so bad. And, Megan Chayka, who, we've interacted with a lot in the podcast, or not on the podcast, on social media through the accounts, put out a Devils thing that said they're one of the best teams at stopping odd man rushes, stopping rush chances, stopping these high danger opportunities. But they're one of the worst teams when it comes to expected goals. And the reason for that is because the opportunities they do give up are almost guaranteed goals. While other teams, they'll give up some chances up front, they'll give up some chances like down low, but the Devils give up a chance and it's like, well, what do you expect? It's going to go in the net. And then you have two goalies who have terrible save percentage on high danger chances. Most goalies have a bad save percentage. It's around 800 on those high danger chances. The Devils are around 650, 700. And I think I'm exaggerating, but it's about 750 which is awful. When you're only saving 3/4 of a chance on any type of shot, it's terrible. So what you're doing is you're taking these we'll call them extreme danger chances, and put them on goalies that can't stop high danger chances. And what you're going to get is a bad team. And this, Sam, is a bad team.
But I thought it was supposed to be a good team.
Yeah, and Santa was supposed to bring me a PlayStation 5 for Christmas, but he didn't. And nobody brought me a good hockey team for the Devils this year. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. It should be the motto of this team. That should have been the name of the podcast, Sam. Maybe that's next week's podcast. Well, probably New Year's really next week. The week after is going to be coulda, shoulda, woulda, because that is the name of this team. This team coulda been the best team in the Metropolitans division. They shoulda made the playoffs. They would have done better if they made a deal for a goalie or if they had a better scheme involved. That's this team. Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions here.
Let's go.
Is this deja vu? The year after?
Are you talking about 2018-19? Because I see
Yeah,
that one a lot.
yeah, the Taylor Hall MVP year. Sorry.
Yeah, but Taylor Hall got hurt that year, so it's not really. It's apples and oranges. So what the Devils did that year is they let some players go, like Maroon, Grabner. I can't remember the others off the top of my head, but they let a couple players go and didn't replace them. They thought John Quenneville was the answer to replace those players, and they fed us that. They fed us that malarkey, and then Taylor Hall got hurt, and we saw what it was. This team was Taylor Hall, and they lost Taylor Hall, so that's why they missed the playoffs that year.
I just think it's more of a bait and switch. I don't know. Last year's team looked very convincing.
Yeah, last year's team didn't sneak into the playoffs also like that 2018 team.
Yeah.
And they won a series. This last year's team was legitimately good. And they lost a lot. You lost Tatar, you lost Severson, who made his return to the Rock tonight. And I hope he got a good ovation. Because Severson did a lot for this team, played over 600 games here. I like Severson as a person, as a player. I think he did a lot. I know he made a lot of mistakes, and people kind of circle that with red ink, but I think he deserves a little bit better than that. And we lost Graves, who isn't playing that well in Pittsburgh. We lost Miles Wood, who again is just the same kind of nightmare fuel in Colorado that he was here. So on paper, you're replacing these players with players like better. You like Lazar better. You like Luke Hughes better than Graves. You theoretically like Nemitz better than Severson. But I mean, no, I think Severson now is better than Nemitz now. But still, I don't think it's that much of a drop off after how well Nemitz has played. Miller's played decently well. Kevin Ball, leaves a lot to be desired, but. Then you lose Dougie Hamilton, and that's going to hurt a lot. But it all comes down to, I think you could have survived with all those losses if you just had any type of goaltending behind these guys. And, I went on the rant, was it 2 weeks ago? It was 2 weeks ago. I went on the rant about how Vitek isn't doing it, and then he kind of stepped up his game and stopped all the shots that game. But, he's been playing better, hard to be worse. He's been better, but the first goal is 100% on him. Guy just threw it at his legs, and he kicks it out to the other team for an easy goal. Doesn't get over quick enough. Doesn't know where the puck went after he gave up the rebound. The script is out on how to beat the Devils, and it's shoot low. And people pointed out to me that it's like, well, Vanacek has a bad glove side. Yeah, but I don't think teams care about that because when you shoot low on him, it is so easy to get a rebound chance and to turn that into points, turn that into a goal. So it's happening so often. Sam, I could shoot at a goalie's pads and turn into a rebound if it's Vitek Vanacek. It's not You played goalie. You know what it's like when the puck comes at you. You have to make a decision. It's almost like playing pool, right? You have to know what your ball is going to do to the ball that it hits, but you also have to set up for your next move. And Vanecek's not doing that. He's slow to move to his next position. He's kicking rebounds to the wrong place and right to the other team very often. And he's not. He's just not. I don't want to say he's not focused because that almost seems like an attack on the guy. And that's not what I'm here to do. But what he's doing right now is not fixable by a coach. What he's doing right now is not fixable by a trainer. I mean, you need a psychiatrist. It's all in his head. He's not when it happens, he's not making the right decision. He's making the wrong reaction. And how do you change someone's reaction except for repetition? And if his repetition is wrong over and over and over again, it's just going to get worse. So I've said this before, and there was a lot of scuttlebutt this today. There's a lot of talk. Why is Nico Dawes here? Why is Nico Dawes playing with the New Jersey Devils? And it didn't help when Lindy Ruff said he needs NHL reps. That made it, that made everybody perk up. At first, it was just like maybe he's just up as an emergency. Maybe it's just a roster free situation. There's a lot of excuses you can make, but when Lindy Ruff says he needs NHL, how is he going to get NHL reps? Well, he's going to get into a game. And that's when things get kind of weird. And now Nico Dawes has been pretty good in Utica. He's only played 3 games. He had one spectacular game, the first game back. One kind of a bad game, second game back, but then another really good game, third game back. So he's got a .929 save percentage right now in those 3 games. It's phenomenal compared to what the Devils are dealing with Schmid and Vanecek. There's a lot of writing on the wall. You hear a lot of whispers about Nashville. I wouldn't be too sure. I think that we're gonna have to wait a couple weeks before goalie move is made, but there's something off with this team, Sam. It's not just the goalie. I know I'm ragging on the goalie right now. It's not just the goalie. It's every unit is terrible. And I just don't know what the fix is. I don't know where you go from here. How do you explain losing to Columbus twice?
They lost to Columbus twice?
Well, this would be the second time.
I thought they beat Columbus.
They lost to them earlier in the season. They're 1-1 against Columbus this year.
Oh, 1-1. Okay, 1-1. I thought
this would be 1-2 though. If you lose this one.
Well, you're making an assumption that the game's still going on.
I understand, but I haven't seen anything that makes this look like a team that could win. I know they turn it on in the third period. They've done it so many times, but it's just getting old. What is it, 24 out of 33 games they've been scored on first?
Yeah, something like that.
That's bad, Sam. That's a bad team. That's a team that is not ready to go. And I don't know what's going on that this keeps happening. It's up to the coaches. The coaches have to make them do something and not just put the line to the blender. Not, I've seen some craziness. Like people say, you got to sit Jack Hughes. No, you don't have to sit Jack Hughes. But the scheme is not working. The offensive scheme is so pass happy, and guys have lost confidence in their shot, which has given them no finishing ability. The defense is taking the wrong angle almost every time. The guy will rush into the zone, and they will go after the man. They will go after the man, and the man just skates past them almost every single time. And then the other defenseman has to make up for that to try to stop a rush chance, leaving their man, and that man is now wide open. So sometimes the guy still shoots, and the defenseman makes the play, but a lot of times that leaves a wide open man for a pass, and then it's chaos, and then Vanecek leaves up a goal. And then other times when it's just you can't, where the puck's in the zone and they're cycling, they can't get the puck out. They're getting 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 shots on Vanecek. Eventually it's going to go in. Sam, I don't I don't know what the fix is. I've written about it multiple times. I've written about why the defensive metrics show that there's some hope yet. And because it's so volatile, usually volatility will, just like with the power play, when the power play was hitting at 40%, you knew that wasn't going to last. And that was going to come down to the mean. Same thing with the defense. With these volatile chances, when you're not giving up a ton of chances overall, those volatile chances eventually will start coming back down to earth, but it just hasn't happened yet. And Sam, when I'm looking at the standings, you're running out of time. Like, truthfully, I know there's 50 games left, 49 after tonight. But if you lose this game, like, that's another crucial 2 points that you didn't secure. And it's because you didn't play well enough. It's one thing, like, you're going to lose games. Like, luck is not going to be on your side. Like, the Sharks game, I don't think they deserve to lose that. As bad as that game was, it was just a mess. What did they have, 16 shots, and they scored, like, 6 goals? It was a mess. That game, like, just didn't make any sense. It was a back-to-back. Just a lot of weird things happened. And the Devils had a ton of shots and just got goalied. But I can't keep making that same excuse. Eventually, like, you have to make your own luck. And eventually, like, this team has to live up to its potential.
Nick, I'm going to interject here. This is the most doom and gloom podcast that we've had in a long time.
I'm sad.
I don't think you're telling the whole story here. That's the problem.
Do you know what I am right now? I am when they made that Christmas song about Africa, about all the hungry children. It's supposed to be a happy time. It's supposed to be Christmas, but I'm sad because of hungry children in Africa and because of the New Jersey Devils. Do you know it? Do they know it's Christmas time at all? Do the Devils know it's Christmas time at all?
This is what I think. The team on the road and the team at home are two different teams. The team on the road is much better. I'm not saying they're elite. I'm just saying they're much better on the road than at home. You know what that tells me? That tells me at home there's too many distractions. Too many distractions with this team at home. Because we see it time and time again. Why are they so much better on the road than they are at home?
But this is a young team. Why could you, like, what is distracting you? You don't have, like, most of them don't have kids.
The marketing department. They make them do so many things. Autograph signings. We've seen autograph signings outside of the marketing part. All that kind of stuff. All that stuff needs to stop. Stop. All of it needs to stop. They need to focus strictly on hockey. That's what I think.
Usually I would disagree with that, but I maybe you're not wrong.
No, I mean, maybe I was raised differently. Like, look, when I got bad grades at home, in school, and I went home, guess what? All of my fun distractions, like the Nintendo, like, watching TV, watching my teams, that went away till I got my stuff in order. And I just see, on social media, which is, you get a glimpse of what's going on. It's almost like they need to go Lou Lamoriello style here, including the Devils content team, and lock these guys in a room like they're in a hotel room on the road and get them to refocus. That's what I think it is, because I can't explain. Nobody can explain it. Why on the road they seem to be reasonably good, but at home they're losing to the Blue Jackets as we speak right now, and they lost to the San Jose Sharks. They had they lost to the Ducks, lost to the Flyers, lost to the Oilers, and really terrible fashion. All 3 games. They beat Detroit, but at home, and that's after having I would say a reasonably successful Western swing.
Yeah, 3-1 is pretty successful. With your only loss to a surging Oilers, but again, the Oilers are another team you can't beat. That's been terrible this year. And I get they're the Oilers and they went on an 8-game winning streak, but you also ended their 3-game losing streak. So you're just losing to bad team after bad team after bad team. You're not going after their. It's like they don't watch. Like we know they watch tape. We saw them watch tape when they announced Sergey Breland was going to the Ring of Honor. But it's like they don't watch. Do they not watch tape one-on-one? Like, do they not sit them down and be like, here's where Siegenthaler made a mistake, and this is how you fix that mistake. Here's where Hughes made a mistake. Because Sam, here's my issue with this team. Here's my issue with the coaching staff specifically. I know there's been a lot of talk about what people want to do with Ruff, and that's always going to happen. It just is what it is. And I'm never going to be one to call for a job. I will be one to, we talked about this last year. I don't know if we could say, double down on Ruff, but, then this was last year. This year's, a different story. But I don't think he's done a great job. Maybe he's done an average job. But I can't say he's done better than that because the mistakes are compounding. They're repeating and they're compounding. They will make 3 or 4 mistakes on one shift, and they will make the same mistake over and over again. It's not getting fixed. And it's different players each time. Besides Marino and Siegenthaler. Marino and Siegenthaler have just been mistake machines this year. And they're out of position. They don't know. It seems like they don't know what to do. Right? They don't know if they should come off their man and go to the man with the puck, or if they should stay in their man and hope the goalie stops the man with the puck. And that puts them in between the two, which is the worst possible place you could go. And I've seen so many bad turnovers. I've seen so many bad penalties. I've seen a lack of drawing penalties, which seems impossible for a team with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt and Nico Hischier. And Timo Meier, how is Timo Meier not drawing more penalties? And Meier's been playing better, but he hasn't been drawing penalties. I don't understand. And the penalties they are drawing, they're not drawing trippings, they're drawing holdings, which is just weird. That's not a skill-based penalty. A trip, your skill can cause a trip. Your skill can cause, a boarding or whatever. But your skill can't, a holding, that's just an idiotic move. I guess, in certain cases, but the way the holding is, it's not a holding, holding a stick, drawing past. It's the other team's just idiotic. Well, but it doesn't even matter because they're not even capitalizing on those mistakes. They finally got a power play in the second period. They did nothing with it. So
I disagree with you on a couple things. I'm all about benching Jack Hughes. I'm all about benching Jack Hughes because he is a pillar of the team. I've called him Mr. Turnover about maybe a year and a half ago. Thought last season wasn't too bad, but he's just careless with the puck is what Dubs is saying. And that's inexcusable. He should know better. And we're seeing in multiple games where Jack is trying to do a little bit too much, and they've got to simplify their game. They're not driving hard to the net like they used to. They're not going towards the net. And like you were saying earlier in the podcast, they're not putting the puck on net either. It just seems like they're just, as what you said, perfectionism.
If you can't get a coach that can get the best out of Jack Hughes every single night, you can't take Jack Hughes to the lineup. You can't. It's just, if you can't get, honestly, if I can't get a coach that can get his best lineup with Jack Hughes in there, I don't want that coach.
Now, Nintendo Wii, thank you for the super chat, but he's asking you. He says, people are now calling for Fitzy to be fired. I think the internet trolls he's talking about. But my only response to that is, what changes?
Yeah, you got Dan McKinnon there, who's a very good citizen GM. You got Megan Dugan in there, very smart hockey mind. You do have people in that front office, but Fitz is one of the best GMs in the league.
I don't know where the panic is all around. I'm just kind of mystified here why everybody is just panicking about everything. To me, maybe I'm just an overly patient person. But to me, there's a couple tweaks I would make.
You think this team looks good?
I think this team is right now.
I don't need an explanation. I'm just curious, yes or no.
What?
You can explain yourself if you want. But does this team look good?
Oh, I think the team looks good. Okay. What they don't have is that it factor. They don't have that ruthlessness and grit that I would expect from a championship team. They don't have. I mean, the other night, Shorts Guy pointed it out, and I'll point it out again. I pointed out on the Woo Report when Vanacek practically got laid out, and everybody just stood there. Okay, thanks, Vanny. We just got ourselves a power play. No. It does. I mean, we saw tonight Damon Severson taking care of business in front of the crease and laying out Alexander Holtz after the play was dead.
Who apparently got benched again.
Who? Severson?
No, Holtz.
Okay, but regardless, I mean, why couldn't Severson do this when he was on the Devils? That's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't think it's weird. It seems like the team, they like each other, but man, when it comes to the support and having each other's backs, and they just seem to be, is what I'll use that word they used earlier this season. They're passive. They're so passive. And I think that's what bothers me about that. And Shane Vincicle says they need more of the killer instinct. Yeah, like
what does that mean?
Go for the jugular.
What does that mean?
Go for the jugular. Okay? It's a mindset. Okay? You're
so
too
let me ask you, who is in charge of instilling the mindset?
Well, there is that PhD person, right? That they hired, the sports performance coach. I forgot his name. I think he was from England, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I talked to him on LinkedIn once.
Yeah. Maybe we should have him on because I got some questions about it.
Was he from England? I thought he was from Toronto.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't remember. Okay.
I remember he lived in Florida because I remember that's why I reached out to him. He lived in. He was working for the IMG Academy in Sarasota.
Yeah. But it's let's put it this way. All right. I'll make an analogy. Okay. Your job, right? There's always that worker that is probably bright at work, but does the least amount of work just to get by. And, and then you've got that hard worker at work, maybe not the most talented, but man, gets the job done no matter what. Comes into work, sometimes a little sick, whatever, guts it out. It does what it takes to get the job done. And I just don't think the Devils really have that. I really, there's just something not right in that aspect. Because it just, we thought, well, when they got Palat, he will show them the way. And, it's been well documented that the players really respect what Palat does. But are they mimicking? I don't know.
I mean, you do know. They're not. Palat's one of the only guys out there who's like effort plays.
Well, yeah, right. and then fans criticize why the hell do we have Palat because, but Palat's there for a reason, and I'll never criticize Palat at all.
You don't see me saying that.
What's that?
I'll criticize singular plays that he makes a mistake on.
Oh, yeah, you could do
but
that.
I don't question the contract. I think, is it a little too much money? I mean, I guess.
Well, really think about that play. Think about that play. And I go back to this all the time. That play in the Stanley Cup. In the playoffs, Game 7, it was a 0-0 tie. It was a chess match. Devils-Rangers, Game 7 at the Rock. And what Palat had to do to keep possession of that puck as he was getting banged around by those Rangers and somehow willed himself and found that puck to Michael McLeod to get that 1-0 lead. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see more of that than the flashy stuff because the Devils have plenty of flash, but, thunder and lightning. They've got a lot of lightning, but not much thunder.
That's the thing is they have players that should be thunder, right? Bastion should be thunder.
They should be.
McLeod has been thunder. and McLeod is one of the sole guys that's actually doing anything this year. But Smith now is that he's a forward, but again, you saw today the issue with Smith at forward. Sam, he was 4 feet from the goal mount, and had the puck on a stick, and he passed it, and the pass got broken up. Even Brendan Smith has to shoot that puck. I know it's not your strength, but it's just simple physics. Just throw it at the net. Hope Mercelingus doesn't see where you're throwing it. Score. This team has a decision-making problem. This team has a reaction problem. This team has when the puck is moving, when the game is flowing, they make the wrong decision, and that is so bad for a team with this much skill.
Yeah,
because they play such a fast game.
Yeah. And, yeah, sorry. Obviously, I'm watching the game. Not good.
Yeah, I see. It just got worse.
Yeah, it looks like Nico Dawes is coming in.
Is it 3-1 or 4-1?
No, it's still 2-1.
Oh, he got hurt. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at a group text I'm in with the Pucks and Pitchfork guys.
No, it looked like or maybe he's staying in. I guess he's staying in. Anyway, but you see, I shouldn't be watching the game, but that's a gritty goalie right there. He's staying in. Stay in. He's going to gut it out.
I think Vitek has a good attitude, but my man gets in his own head, and it just makes the most wild movements to make the simplest save. Puts himself out of position and gives up the juiciest rebounds, and then is slow to react to them.
Whereas Dominic Hasek was the same way, but he was the quickest on those rebounds. He was so lightning quick.
So stupid quick.
Dominic Hasek was just mind-boggling.
He was did it on purpose. He was trying to test himself.
How
hard to make this on myself.
Yeah, it was almost like he was warming up. All right, look, I'll just flood this puck out there. I'll give you five tries. Let me see if I'm.
But then you have Brodeur, who might be the best rebound control goalie ever.
Oh, his rebound control was impeccable. Matter of fact, even if he did give up a loose rebound, it always seemed to be in a spot where Scott Stevens was, or Scott Niedermeyer. It was almost like it was time. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about in hockey, but I know in lacrosse that when you're in the, when you're playing goal, that I remember being taught how to make a save and then simultaneously make a outlet pass at the same time, which took a while.
Are you talking about when it lands in the stick, or are you talking about off your body?
No, when it's
so different.
Well, when it lands in your stick and then make a quick outlet pass, snip it out to your middies or defenseman.
Because for those who don't know lacrosse, for a forward or a defenseman stick, the opening's about this big, but the goalie stick is about this big?
Yeah,
probably around that.
Yeah.
So and it's flat. It's very flat. The goalie stick, comparatively, there was a pocket forward stick, but it's very flat comparatively for a goalie stick. So you could just it would hit the net. You could just quickly, toss it out to your defenseman, or some of them had some wrist strength where they can chuck it down the field with just a flick of the wrist.
Yeah.
But no, you go ahead.
Just off topic, what are your thoughts about Zegras and Bedard, the lacrosse goals? I love them. Do you think the NHL will ever ban them?
My worry is that they're going to hit a goalie in the head.
Okay.
It's come so close.
Yeah.
And if you break a goalie's neck, I'm jumping to conclusions here. I'm jumping beyond, but I'm saying for something to ban it, you got a serious injury, a terrible concussion, and that is possible with a lacrosse goal. I don't think it needs to be banned until you find evidence that I mean, I don't want to be reactionary, but You kind of have to, right? Like, because I don't know if that's even possible with the way the lacrosse goal is, the Michigan, because it usually looks like the stick hits the post, and that's what causes the trajectory of the puck to go in the net. But that would be my worry, is that you're going to hit a goalie in the face, and it's going to cause a possible major injury.
You make a good point there. I'm sure it's possible. Anything is possible.
That's my only worry. I think it's fun beyond that. I think it's cool. I think any way you could score a goal, like, just let them score a goal. It's like the tush push, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's a competitive reason why it should be banned.
I loved Carl Banks's assessment on that. Did you hear what he said on live air?
Where is Carl Banks right now? I know he
doing color.
Gig.
He was doing color with Bob Papa on the radio call, and he's been there for a while. And he said that if it were up to me, coaching, I would just have the defense run offsides every single time, and just go over the top and tackle the quarterback, and take the penalty.
But I've seen teams try it, and like what you do is you get stuck on the offensive lineman, and then you have no leverage.
Yeah,
you know, and what you got to do is you need somebody like Polamalu, who can, he was just so good at jumping over and landing on his feet, getting his leverage in milliseconds.
Or LeVar Arrington as well. I mean, he could just...
Yeah. LeVar Arrington was a little differently just because of how he was built. I mean, he was built like a brick house.
Yeah.
But he could still, leap, like Superman. But yeah, it's.
I mean, it would be pretty interesting just to send a message if they ever do the tush push, just take one of the players that really are in reserve and have them go over the top and just tackle the quarterback before he snaps it. I mean, that'd be great.
Just drop it, kick him.
Yeah.
See what what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Go for the chest. Don't try to hurt him. But with those cleats, you get enough power behind that drop kick. You're gonna be in decent shape.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm at. We're getting to the end here because I know you got to go and get ready for, sadness after dark. I don't know where the fix is. I'm going to be writing a lot about this, obviously. It's the end of the month, so I usually write more articles towards the end of the month than I do at the beginning. I think that this team is lost. I think this team desperately needs a direction. It desperately needs a kick in the tuchus. There's no fear in their game. They're playing for the perfect opportunity in net because they feel like that they can. They feel like they can just continue to wait for these opportunities to come, and then they just stop. The well dries.
Yeah.
And the well is drying way too often. And I think if they lose tonight, they're back to 500. And that is not where this team can be. Not in this division.
Yeah.
You can't lose to Columbus. You just can't. You can't lose to them more than once in a season, and this is going to be twice already. And that is... I'm just going to be honest, Sam. This doesn't look like a playoff team. And I don't know if John Gibson saves it. I don't know if Yusei Saros can save this team. I think maybe Saros probably has a better chance too, but... Askarov, I don't know if he saves it. He's young. Who else out there? Marc-Andre Fleury?
I still am going to go with my prediction that they'll be last year's Florida Panthers. They'll just squeak right in.
Yeah, I think we agreed on that because I've been saying that too. And that's all you need to be.
And then you're on a clean slate. And if your team's healthy and you're all fired up, you could really do some damage. But again, even then, there's a big difference. Kachuk. Because that is that beefalytics. That's what I've been talking about. That's what they're lacking. And it's just something. They may need a Butch Goring type trade.
They thought they were getting 80% of Matthew Tkachuk with Timo Meier. And on paper, it looked like that's what he was. Right? Timo Meier's never going to be an MVP candidate, but he's a superstar. That's worth every penny. And, he brought grit in the playoffs. He got Igor Shesterkin off his game.
Yeah.
And set the rest of the team up. He didn't score a point, but he might have been the third or fourth most impactful person in that first series. That first round series against the Rangers. In a positive way.
Yeah.
And we're just starting to see that again. Even tonight, I've seen, I didn't watch the whole game because I was setting up for this podcast. And, I don't want to be depressed. But I've seen a couple plays where he's hurrying back to break up plays from behind, like odd man rushes. He's making interceptions and effort plays in the offensive zone to get possession back. He's getting in the right places. He seems to be really thriving since he got on the line with McLeod. Take that for what it's worth. Outside of that, though, Bastian's not doing what he's supposed to be doing with those grip plays. Palat has some of them, but you got to criticize he's been making mistakes too. So he's kind of a mixed bag. And then the rest of the team, I'm just not seeing that same defensive mindset from Nico Hischier 5-on-5. I'm not seeing that same defensive mindset from Dawson Mercer at 5-on-5. I'm not seeing that same effort from Jack Hughes. He used to be the king of the takeaways. I mean, he led the league in takeaways one year, and he was, I think, second another. Just not seeing that this year. Not seeing that guy jumping in front of passes and going on breakaways. When was the last time you saw Jack Hughes breakaway?
That is true.
That was caused by his turnovers.
That is true.
He always gave the puck away. But when he was taking the puck away as much as he was giving it away, it didn't bother you. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother anybody. Now that the plays are a little one-sided, what he's doing is he's coming from behind and he's using that speed and agility to steal the puck from players. He's still doing that. But he's not jumping passes. And that seems to be, those are effort plays more often than not. It's hockey IQ plays and effort plays. He still has the hockey IQ. You can see what he's doing. But like you said, he's trying to do too much. He's trying to make the play by himself. And I wrote an article a couple weeks ago. It was before they went on the Western Canada, the Western Conference trip. And I said last year when Jack Hughes got hurt, it took him 10 games to be Jack Hughes again. And 10 games would be the game that they got back from the Western Conference road trip. Now, in those 10 games, unlike last year, he had a couple really good games. I think he had a 3-point performance. I think he had a 2-goal performance in there. But I'm still not seeing it. I'm still not seeing MVP Jack Hughes. I'm not seeing the guy we saw at the beginning of the season. And yes, that's partially because they're not getting power plays anymore. And the power plays aren't as dominant. But he's just not making the same plays.
We'll see. We'll see.
But I'm ready for plugs if you are.
Yep. Go right ahead.
All right. So right now on pucksandpitchforks.com, we have many articles. Marcy Rubin, she has one that's sitting in my inbox right now. I have to go edit it after this podcast. That'll be up tonight. That is on Jesper Bratt. What kind of season can we expect from him? Can we expect him to be a 100-point player? This is something I was going to work on a couple of weeks ago, but I decided that just other things have come up. But I wrote about Nico Dawes. What does it mean? Why is he up here? What could it possibly mean? We're starting to learn more about that, so I might update that one. I wrote about, did you see the new Russian rule that, young prospects might be stuck there for 5 years? Just kind of went over what would that mean if that were to go into effect for Arsenij Gritsik, the star Russian prospect that the Devils have over there. Wrote about Vitek Vanacek and whether he can be fixed. Just kind of went into detail on what I think is going on and who and what needs to be fixed to make him a decent goalie again. And we're going to have a lot more because, we have 3 days left in December and we need to write 9 articles. So there's going to be a lot of content coming down the pike, Sam.
Wow. Just also want to remind everybody that January 6th is Rangers Suck Fortune Cookie Night at American Whiskey. Yes, come on down. I'll be giving them away, Nick.
Yeah, I'm excited for that night. That's what night is that? That's January what?
January 6th, Saturday night, Devils versus Vancouver. And you know that the Hughes family loves American whiskey.
Oh,
Hughes
I have
Bowl
one more
too.
plug. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I spoke to Brendan Smith last week.
Whoa.
And he's doing that Can It to Cancer Can Jam tournament, where it's a really cool tournament where you get to play Can Jam with players on the team. Brendan Smith knows that he's going to be there, but he said he mentioned a couple of the star players that you might be partnered with to play side by side and spend your day in a tournament style with the greats of this team. Sam, I asked him who he thinks is going to be the best Can Jam player on the team. Who do you think he said?
Jesper Bratt.
He said Nico Hischier. He said
Wow.
Nico Hischier is just he picks things up so quickly, and he just picks it up, and he's the best at it. So he thinks that's going to happen again with Can Jam. So I'm going to write a preview article on that. I think that's going to come out on Friday. And then we're going to go and cover that event. And we're going to write a post-op just kind of reviewing the event as a whole and seeing what everybody had to say about it. But that's coming out. So Friday is going to be the article. That event is a week from Sunday, I believe. Is that
Yep.
the 7th is a week from Sunday.
Yep. It's right after
and
Rangers Suck Fortune Cookie Night.
And I think all the money goes to cancer. Goes to cancer research. So goes to a great cause. These guys are Jersey people too. The guys who started this charity, Can It to Cancer, I think it's called.
Yep.
So that's huge. We're really, really happy that Brendan Smith spent some time with us to talk to us, and that article will be out on Friday.
Yeah. Also, I'll be in Morristown, inline Morristown, doing my debut of my first play-by-play of a charity hockey game, raising funds for cancer as well. All right.
Nice.
Yep. I'll be streaming it around 7 o'clock, and there'll be lots of surprises. Till next time, let's go Devils.